When Minnesota became a territory, there were a few political plums to be handed out. St. Paul won the biggest prize, that of being named as territorial capital. But there were other opportunities, chief among them being the Territorial Prison. Construction alone would provide a boost to the local economy, and in the long run it offered jobs for guards, shop employees, and clerks, and would be a source of lucrative contracts for local merchants. In February 1851, the legislature selected Stillwater as the site for the penitentiary. The prison would be erected on 4 acres of land in Battle Hollow, a marshy ravine near the north end of the town surrounded on 3 sides by steep hills. When it opened in early 1853, the complex included a 3-story prison house with 6 cells and 2 dungeons for solitary confinement, a workshop, and an office, all surrounded by a 12-foot wall. Outside was the Warden's house, halfway up the south hill overlooking the prison. The first warden, Francis Delano, began a long-running tradition of private business enterprises inside the prison walls. He brought in steam-powered woodworking machinery and began making barrels, buckets, shingles, and doors. Over the years, the prison was involved in lucrative work contracts that raised eyebrows among prison reformers. Security was lax, and prisoner escapes were frequent. The Stillwater Messenger complained in 1858 that, "Our penitentiary is a great humbug. There's no security about it. It is a cheat, a swindle, a disgrace." Although it improved from those early years, there were still escapes. Mattie Rhodes, who was born in 1888, recalled,
"Well, we lived on what was called the Prison Hill. Stillwater's 2 hills, the North Hill and South Hill, and the business district is down in the middle. And we could see from our windows, we could see down in, now this is the old prison, I should say, in the old prison yard. And one day, a soldier, an inmate, got away. And I can remember seeing the scurrying, down in the prison yard. And then there was like a forest, a lot of bushes and all on the side of the hill. And they came up in there and were looking. I don't think they ever found him.
The most notorious of this prison's inmates were the Younger brothers. In September 1876, the brothers joined with Jesse and Frank James in a daring attempt to rob the First National Bank of Northfield, but were thwarted by townspeople. By the time the gunfire stopped, 2 local citizens and 2 gang members lay dead in the street. The Youngers split away from the James brothers and headed south through small-town Minnesota. Weeks later, Cole, Bob, and Jim Younger were captured near Medalia, Minnesota by a posse and taken to Faribault to stand trial. In November, the brothers pled guilty to first-degree murder and were sentenced to life imprisonment in Stillwater Prison. When the gates closed behind them, they fell out of the limelight, and by all accounts they became model prisoners. Cole worked in the library and started the prison's first newspaper. Jim served as postmaster for several years. When a fire broke out in the main cell block in 1884, the warden armed the brothers so they could guard women inmates amid smoke and confusion. They quietly returned the weapons after calm was restored. For years, the Younger brothers petitioned the state of Minnesota to be pardoned, to no avail. Finally, after serving 25 years in prison and watching their brother Bob die of tuberculosis, Cole and Jim walked out the door as free men and as enduring legends. In Stillwater, Mattie Rhodes remembered,
"Well, the boys used to play that game. I'm Jesse James, a Northfield robber, and run all over around."
Henry Wolfer, a new, reform-minded warden, took over the prison in 1892, and he instituted improved security, parole officers, and an identification system for prisoners. By that time, the damp, poorly ventilated, roach-infested buildings were a disgrace to the state. "Bed bugs are so numerous," complained one of the inmates, "they drive the average prisoner wild with pain and annoyance. The air is foul. The stench is almost intolerable." In 1905 and 1909, the state legislature allocated funds for a new state penitentiary, which was built south of Stillwater at Bayport, a prison that for many years was considered the best penal structure in the country. Some of the old prison buildings in Battle Hollow were dismantled, while others burned down, and all that remains are the warden's house and some of the old stone walls. The house is open for tours, so if you have the time, step inside one of Minnesota's oldest homes to learn more about life in the Minnesota State Prison.